So over the past few years now, we have seen such a huge improvement when it comes to video quality on smartphones. And you can now capture some amazing videos just by using your phone, which you always have with you anyway. So it feels like there's no need for a dedicated camera anymore, and the stabilization on these phones are now at the point where it looks like it's sitting on a gimbal anyway. So is there actually a huge need for these gimbals now, and is it possible to think out of the box just to make our life easier if we prefer to use a phone as a phone? So to test this brand new iSteady V3 gimbal, I chose a different path, as you may see. So what I have here is the brand new DJI Action 5 Pro. And even if this gimbal was mainly made for smartphones, I can actually use an action camera, and it has something that really caught my eye, which is this new improved AI tracker here. This is not a typical AI tracking system you see with other gimbals. This is actually a standalone AI tracker, which I can take on and off as I want, and this allows me to use this with and without a smartphone. So I don't have to use a smartphone in order to track myself, which is amazing. And because it has these improved hooks here, I can easily fit an action camera, whether this is the Action 5 Pro, the Action 4, or any other action camera, and I can use the tracker to create some really dynamic movements, which otherwise would be impossible with the Action 5 or a smartphone. And I think this is one of the things that really makes a gimbal useful: dynamic movements. But of course, there's other aspects to a gimbal than just spinning around. You can get dynamic time lapses, use different features with the app, capture an amazing pan shot with the included detachable remote controller here, for example. And of course, if you want to grab some low angle shots, the gimbal does also have this extended selfie stick, which is awesome. So when we went on this hike, I was able to capture some amazing footage, including dynamic movements with the use of the wireless remote, AI tracking, and handheld movements. And this is something I wouldn't be able to capture and do if I was using a normal selfie stick, which, depending on what selfie stick you get, it's going to be the same price as this one. And even if these cameras have come a long way and they have everything you need basically to capture amazing videos, the cameras alone are still limited in terms of smart features, and especially tracking, which is where you would consider getting a gimbal. Now, we also have other gimbals from other brands which has this tracking feature, like the Osmo Mobile 6 from DJI and the Insta360 Flow Pro. Even though they all work in sort of the same way, they stabilize your camera and you can move it around and use the different features that these brands are offering, there's only one of these which has that standalone self-tracking AI, which you can use with a smartphone or an action camera, which is this one, the iSteady V3. And talking about the Action 5 Pro here, which has an optimized 4nm chip, I'm able to capture better videos, more detailed videos, and a wider shot than if I was using a smartphone with any of these other gimbals. Now, the only con I've found so far is that it doesn't rotate fully 360 degrees, which is a bummer. I do prefer that in my stabilizing devices. So I have this hard stop when it rotates to a certain degree. But because the Action 5 Pro has a 155-degree field of view, I haven't really seen this as an issue. And the limit is mostly seen when you're trying to walk around the gimbal in circles, which I assume is something none of us will ever do, apart from when we're actually testing these devices to see if there is any limit, especially to the rotation of a gimbal. So for me, this isn't really a problem, like I said, because the Action 5 Pro has such a wide field of view. Now, when it comes to the gimbal itself and the convenience of using this with an action camera or a smartphone, depending on what you prefer, we also have 4 different modes here. So we have pan follow, we have pan tilt follow, and POV, and also lock. We also have this brand new detachable remote now, which is something I've never seen on a gimbal before, and I actually used this to capture some pan follow shots where I was walking past the camera with the remote in my hand, and I just pushed the joystick in the direction I was going. And also tilt down and tilt up as I was walking by, just to mix things up a bit to get a few different shots for my travel sequence. And if you ask me, these turned out really good, and something I wouldn't be able to do if I was using just a normal selfie stick. Now, there is one thing I wish Hohem could introduce via a firmware update if it's possible, and that is waypoints. This is such a fantastic feature that I use on my Mini 4 Pro all the time. We also have waypoints in motion time-lapse on the Pocket 3, and if I could just have that on something this cheap, this small, this portable, when I use an action camera, it would be fantastic. So hopefully we can see that in the future, if it's going to come with a firmware update or you know, the next model, but something that makes it easy for me that loves to use an action camera with these gimbals. So I could either set these waypoints by using gesture control or by tap holding any of the buttons here on the controller. That would be fantastic. Now, when it comes to using this AI tracker, it's extremely simple. So to start it, the only thing I do is showing this check sign here, and it will follow me. And if I wanted to stop, I just raise my hand like this and it will stop. So that's basically how easy it is to use this AI tracker. But of course, if you're using a smartphone and not an action camera, you can also drag a box around the subject or object you want to track. But the fact that I can do this with the Action 5 Pro or any other action camera is just amazing. Now let's talk a little bit about low light. The Action 5 Pro has received a huge improvement in low light with a new improved sensor, and we now have a new mode called Super Night. So alone this looks quite impressive actually, but to make this look even better when you're out vlogging, there's also a magnetic fill light on this gimbal, which is also a part of the tracking system here. So this has two different modes. We have warm and cold light, and to turn this on you just press hold on the scroll wheel on the side here. And to change between these two, you just double press on the wheel and it will go from warm to cold or cold to warm. And you can also change the intensity here by scrolling up and down. Now, when it comes to battery life, the iStudy V3 has a stated battery life of 13 hours, and to be honest, I have no idea if that is correct or if it's more or if it's less. But what I know is that I was able to use this on and off for about 2 days in Hawaii before it ran out of battery, and I think that's more relevant. So 2, maybe 3-4 days depending on how much you use it. If you use it actively throughout a whole day, maybe it lasts for that day only, but you know, when you get back to your hotel, you can just charge this device anyway. Another thing I really like with this is that we also have these built-in tripod feet now compared to the previous model, and this also makes the gimbal easier to carry around. It's going to be smaller in your pocket because you don't have to have that external tripod which you have to carry around and screw on whenever you want to put this down. And this made it so much easier to just set it down and start tracking and go about my walk really. So yeah, I really appreciate those feats, and it just makes the gimbal more complete in my opinion. So this has been one of those gimbals that I was actually looking forward to use because it has all these features that makes it usable with more cameras and not just a smartphone. And honestly, I just hate shooting videos on my phone. I think it looks rubbish. So now I finally have the perfect setup to use with my Action 5 Pro, the Ace Pro, and I might even throw the GoPro Hero 13 just to see how that looks. And I mean, with the detachable remote here, it just makes everything a lot easier, especially if you're a solo creator, you can just, you know, use this as in a subtle way behind your back or on your side when you're walking past the camera and you want some different type of shots. So if you're looking for a gimbal that you can use with your smartphone and with any other action camera you might think of, this gimbal is definitely the one to get. So if you want to check out the iStudy V3, there is a link down below where you can save 20% off as well. Now, I also have a full in-depth review of the Action 5 Pro and also the new DJI Neo drone, which has been a fantastic travel companion on this trip. So I'll leave a link to all those videos down there as well for you to check out if you want my honest review on those. And also do me a favor and hit that subscribe and like button if you enjoyed today's video, and let me know your thoughts on this self-tracking or standalone tracking from the Hohem iStudy V3 and this combined with the Action 5 Pro. So let me know in the comments below. That's gonna be everything for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.